Sure, I'll be answering, say, I'm
his report.
Good? Okay, great. Good evening. I'd like to call the Borough Council meeting to order. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda by posting a copy of the notice in the municipal building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune, and by filing a copy in the office of the Borough Clerk. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Here.
Councilman Collins.
Here.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Here.
Councilman Peretti. Councilman Potter.
Here.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Here.
Thank you. Please rise and join me in a moment of silence, followed by a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we'll move right on to our public comment, which is limited to the resolutions listed on the agenda. If you wish to speak about any of the resolutions, please step up to the microphone and say your name and address for the record. Yes.
Good evening, George Murray, 4 South North Drive. Resolution 264, 2023, $39,400 for sidewalk replacement for Newcom Group. What areas are getting replaced?
Councilman Revelinsky, you have DPW, do you know?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question clearly.
What's the-
I heard it was 264, 2023.
It's the one about the paving.
The sidewalk replacement by Newcom?
Right.
Yeah, what was his question?
What areas are getting replaced?
Well, this would authorize the action to award, so it will be shortly after. We won't have a date until the award is made.
What is
Just mentioned this to me the other, yesterday, that we went out for more pricing.
what is being done, not when?
Oh, I'm sorry. The entrance to Borough Hall is what it looks like. That looks like the scope, just that area that's damaged.
That's not correct.
Do you have?
That's not correct.
Oh, okay.
It's the whole front. It's gonna be from the parking lot all the way up to the door.
Okay, thank you. And, 263, 2023, construction department personnel. This is for hiring a part-time personnel person.
This is for a planning board secretary / administrative clerk. So the title is secretary for the construction office and to do planning board.
Okay, correct, thank you.
Anyone else have any comments on resolutions? Seeing none, we'll close this portion of the meeting, and we will move on to the approval of minutes. We have the minutes from September 26th. Any comments or corrections? All right, can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So moved. Will the clerk please read Resolution 256, 2023, authorizing bill payment by title only?
Authorizing the payment of bills, claims, and statements against the Borough of Milltown in the total amount of $201,801.30.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Madam Mayor, I move that the bill list be approved as typed.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Council President Zambrana. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I had a question on page 5, the bike paths for CME. Has this work already been done, or is it going to be done?
Mike, you want to,
Yeah, we're in the process of design, yeah. We talked about the last meeting.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Okay.
You're going to let us know because the environmental committee wants to know about the bike path.
Yeah, we have a bunch of comments from your last meeting. We're incorporating those comments. We'll be back with another plan probably next week.
Okay,
And then
thanks,
we'll
Mike.
take it to the committee and we'll go over it. Happy to.
Thank you.
Any other comment? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky. Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
So moved, the resolution passes. Next, we'll move on to the consent agenda. A consent resolution has been prepared for the resolutions listed on the agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and, having been reviewed by the Borough Council, will be enacted by one motion. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any council member, and if so removed, will be treated as a separate matter. Any items requiring expenditure are supported by a certification of funds. If any member of the council wants any resolution acted upon individually, please give me the resolution number, and it will be pulled from the consent agenda, or consent resolution.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to pull 263-2023 and 264-2023.
Anyone else?
I just had a question on 258.
Okay, go ahead.
It was just in regards to, does that list complete everything that is over there at the old DPW site?
No, it does not. You might not have heard.
Any other questions?
Oh,
So will the clerk please read the consent agenda resolution?
So 258 was not pulled, correct? It was just a
Correct, it was just a question, yeah. So it's 263 and 264. So everything,
Whereas pursuant to the rules of council, the council may establish a consent agenda for any regular or special meeting and upon certain conditions. Whereas each of the following resolutions, motions, or proclamations to be presented before the Borough Council at its October 10th, 2023 regular meeting appear to have the unanimous approval of all members of the Borough Council. Resolutions 258, 2023 through 262, 2023. Now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Milltown that each of the above listed resolutions, motions, or proclamations be approved and adopted by the Borough Council with the same legal effect as though each was read in its entirety at the October 10th, 2023 regular meeting and adopted by separate vote.
you've heard the reading of the consent resolution. What is your pleasure?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that these resolutions be adopted.
second.
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Councilman President Zambrana. Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
Will the clerk read the resolution 263, 2023 by title?
Authorizing certain personnel actions, Construction Department.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that this resolution be adopted. Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Potter, second by Council President Zambrana. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I had a question on this. Is this person going to be the, I guess, Planning Board, Board of Adjustment Secretary?
Yes.
And she knows that, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what my question was, because I know there was a little confusion there, so.
Anyone else? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Peretti. Oh, I apologize. Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Aye.
All right, and then will the clerk please read Resolution 264, 2023 by title?
Authorizing a required disclosure award of sidewalk replacement, Newcon Group not to exceed $39,400.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
I move that this resolution be adopted.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman O'Donnell, second by Council President Zambrana. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I was just wondering what, I had a couple questions about, there's one in here from Jim Schnook Masonry, and he's got a 2,138 square feet. and his price was $29,000, and this one says $1970 for $39,400.
So in
Is
order
that oh, sorry, go ahead, Janet. No, I was going to say, if anyone on the council is part of the Department of Public Works Committee and has an answer for, who's on that
This
committee?
was not brought to my attention prior to seeing it on the delivery.
Okay, so it's, I'm sure Public Works is aware of it, so if you don't have an answer, Jeanette, have you spoken to Public Works about that?
Well, I can attest to the cost of the project.
Okay,
And that has to do with the fact that once the cost is over $16,233, it's subject to a bunch of regulations per state purchasing laws, which include a public contractor's license and also prevailing wage. So once the other two, there was actually two bids that were below. Once they were notified that they needed to do that, they withdrew their bids.
I see. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
So
so
the-
unfortunately,
so
that's.
the two lower bids didn't have the correct licensing?
Correct, yeah, to do public work, it's a regulation for public
And
purchase.
Jeanette, this is also in the RFP that goes out to all
Yes,
of
it
our
is.
contractors? Okay.
And they were provided that information, and that's why they, first it was provided to Mr. Snook, because he was the lowest bidder, then the next person up who also didn't want it, and then we had to go with the last one.
So Jeanette, just so we're all on the same page here, there's a cost associated, I guess, with getting certifications?
Yes, there is.
Do you know what the approximate cost is?
I've heard that it's around $10,000.
Is that a year, or is that,
Well, so I don't know I heard that
Right.
it's a by-year license, so I
Right.
don't know what it costs to renew the license.
Right.
I don't.
but it's fair to say that if there was another project in town that came up that needed a scope similar to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
That if these two outside vendors put in a bid, unless they had that certification, they wouldn't be able to do the work.
If it's over
over
the $16,000 and change for the prevailing wage, that's
Okay.
what kind of kicks everything off. And we're required, the Department of Labor will come in, check the certified payroll records that
Got
are
it.
required to be submitted, so
Okay, thank you.
it's an unfortunate
Yeah, I was just wondering-
mandate that we have to follow.
I was just wondering, like Phil was saying, if we have another job and if we talk about the railroad foundation, maybe we could use this contractor.
Mm-hmm. Well, we would solicit quotes and then go from there. So if it was whoever, generally, we like to go with the lowest one, but if it goes over that $16,000 threshold, then,
Right, I see.
What do you mean the Railroad Foundation?
The railroad station, the River Railroad?
Yeah?
We don't own that, John.
Right, but we could recommend that they use this contractor, be the certified.
So let me just, we don't make recommendations,
make
so
recommendations.
it wouldn't come from my office as a recommendation, but
Okay.
certainly they could solicit anyone in town that they wanted.
The borough doesn't have anything to do with that.
Right,
Out
well,
of curiosity, if the licensing fees are $10,000 a year, we're seeing an increase in the cost of this project of $10,000. We're basically paying for this person's license.
So I don't know if it's an annual fee, but yeah, it's not the borough's rules. It comes down from the state purchasing regulations, so I have no other answer than that.
I had another question. The other bids were significantly higher than this one. Do you remember there was like 2 or 3 other?
Well, that had other work combined with it. That's, initially, we went out to bid, hoping we would get a smaller, a lower price point, and that didn't happen. So then we just went for the quotes for the single project, because that's the most time-sensitive with the weather coming.
And urgent.
Okay. Yeah, it is urgent. Correct.
Any other comments?
Did we confirm with the other bidders whether or not they had all the licensing?
Yes,
Because
And they
I don't
withdrew-
see that, I don't see that excluded in their proposal.
no, well, they withdrew their bids once they realized that they needed to have that.
Which means they didn't really read the RFP or the RFQ.
No, so what happened was we went out and we solicited quotes.
Right.
And the lowest quote that we received they were sent our vendor packet.
Got it.
And in that vendor packet, it indicates all the things that they need to have.
Okay,
And so, once the first lowest received it, and they said, yeah, no, forget it, we're out. Then we sent it to the next one, they did the same, and then we were able to find someone that does, public improvements, and
okay,
we used that.
thank you.
Do you know when this
Did
could,
you change pricing on just doing the damage section as well versus the whole thing?
No, because when we had insurance come out, they looked at it as a total project. So most of this will be paid with insurance money.
Did the amount of money that we received from insurance, does that cover this $39,400?
It covers about 75% of it.
Which would have been about the same as the other two bidders.
Except that they don't have the certifications. Yeah.
now, do you know, Jeanette, do you know when they're gonna start this work?
Well, first it has to be approved tonight,
Yeah.
and then we'll get it scheduled as soon as possible.
Any other, excuse me, any other comments?
No, just the weather's changing and,
Yeah.
Hence why we have to approve it.
exactly.
Okay. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
All right.
So moved. Thank you. All right, now we will have our committee and reports from the officials. We'll begin with Councilwoman Margaret O'Donnell, the Public Safety.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have several reports tonight. The first will be from Police Chief Brian Kennelly. Between September 11th, 2023 and October 3rd, 2023, police responded to 1,095 calls for service. During this period, police conducted 88 radar details in numerous locations. Police made 215 motor vehicle stops during this period. Police investigated 21 motor vehicle accidents. 6 arrests were made, which included endangering the welfare of a child, auto theft, and contempt of court. As utility work continues on Main Street and Highland Drive, please use extra cautions as detours will pass through residential neighborhoods. I'll make 2 additions to the chief's report. My neighborhood is one of them, so I would also ask that you have patience and not blow your horn. We live there. We don't appreciate blasting horns all the time. And another comment on that is to be especially cautious near where the detour is coming through by the school. Right before this meeting got started, I received an email from a resident who had her mirror damaged from cars passing by through that detour, and was very concerned about the children, the families, the parents that are all walking in that area as well. Residents are reminded to drive with caution and watch for crossing pedestrians. School is in session and pedestrian traffic has increased. Let's all do our part to keep our roads safe by obeying local speed limits and traffic laws. The Milltown Police Department is in need of part-time school crossing guards. Applications can be found on the borough website. For more information about the position, please contact Lieutenant Chris Johnson at cjohnson@milltownpd.org. Please continue to report suspicious activity, traffic concerns, and non-emergent type calls to 732-828-1100. Emergency and life-threatening calls should use 911. Any concerns or complaints can be submitted by using the official borough website or by calling Milltown Police directly. From the fire department, submitted by Chief of Department Raymond Jolly. This month, there was 1 drill, 1 meeting, 19 fire calls, 6 special assignments, and 3 work details. There are 238 incidents year-to-date involving 3,501.4 man-hours. The types of calls received included odor of gas, utility car, electrical, and structure fires, activated fire, smoke detector, and CO meters, a vehicle crashing into a building. Oh, I covered all, oh, and assisting the Milltown Rescue Squad. The work details this month included 3 equipment checks, and the driver's drill, the drill involved driving. The special assignments were pump testing, attendance at the clam bake and the 9/11 remembrance ceremony, 2 wakes, and Milltown Day. And I will say that a big thank you to both the fire department and the rescue squad for creating a very welcoming, kind of like an entrance unit there at the front of Milltown Day. In terms of membership, 1 member did resign the fire department, but 2 new members have joined. Milltown Fire Department's second live burn is scheduled for October at the Flammable Liquids Pad at the Middlesex County Fire Academy. Preventative maintenance has begun on apparatus. Ladder 73 will be first, going out of service to absolute. There are some ongoing issues with the bay door openers that are being worked on. And as I mentioned at every council meeting, members are needed. Candidates interested in joining the Milltown Fire Department are encouraged to stop by the firehouse on Monday nights at 6:30, or to email joinmilltownfire@gmail.com. And for the rescue squad, in September, there were 116 calls, 58 in Milltown, 35 on the Turnpike, and 23 in the form of mutual aid. This last month, the rescue squad welcomed 2 new EMTs. Another 3 members have started EMT training and are expected to graduate in December. The squad will be at Trunk or Treat on October 28th, and members look forward to seeing everyone in costume at the event. If anyone has billing questions, they should call Cornerstone, the billing company, with any questions or concerns. Their number is 877-214-6018. You can also access their website via the squad's website, and the squad's website is milltownrescuesquad.org. Please do not call Milltown Police Department with billing or recruitment questions. Milltown Rescue Squad will begin accepting applications for the winter onboarding process. Anyone who's interested in learning about joining the rescue squad or becoming an EMT should email recruitment@milltownrescuesquad.org to learn more. They're happy to answer your questions. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you. Next, we'll move on to the Department of Utilities, Councilman Dave Potter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, my first report is from John Eckert from the Electric Utility Department. Line clearance was performed on Harkins Road, Bruce Court, and South Mowatts. This is crucial work as tree interference accounts for the majority of the outages. Broken streetlights were replaced with LED units on Janet Court, South Street, and Lindstrom Court. Streetlights were repaired on Riva Avenue, West Lawrence, South Street, Ackerman, Janet Court, and Washington Avenue. New poles were installed and pole transformers were completed on First Street and Maple Shade Road. Verizon will follow up and transfer their wires and remove the broken, damaged poles. 3 broken electric meters were replaced. Electric services were repaired on South Main Street, Scott Avenue, and Harkins Road. Weed control was performed at the substation and various pad-mounted transformer locations. Regarding the bucket truck, which has been out of service pending a hydraulic hose, an update, the parts have been received by the repair shop. 2 failed transformers were sent back to the manufacturer for warranty evaluation. The factory has determined a winding failure that will be covered with the warranty. The last remaining old substation transformer has been removed from the old DPW site at 39 Washington Avenue. Also, 12 blown pole-top transformers were taken for recycling and disposal. The storm on September 9th resulted in roughly 65 homes in 3 separate areas with no power due to falling tree limbs and lightning. Borough linemen repaired the broken wires, lightning arresters, and blown distribution fuses to restore all power. Various power problems were evaluated throughout the borough, and the utility department worked with the building department to troubleshoot building disputes throughout the month. Madam Mayor, my second report is from Don Herman from the Water Utility. PSE&G continues to do work throughout the town that require markouts. Monitoring of the pump station occurs on a regular schedule. Church Street Pump Station 2A is out for repairs. The water main relining and replacement program on Highland Drive is ongoing, and pipes on Lower Highland have been installed. Repair to a 10-inch water main break on Janet Court assisted the DPW crew. Madam Mayor, regarding Utilities Department, as a reminder, with the PSE&G project, to any residents who have any questions or concerns regarding the project, please contact PSE&G directly at 1-833-661-6400 or visit www.pseng.com/gaswork. We will also be posting updates on our borough website under the newsflash section, and you can also find more information regarding the project in the Around the Town section. For our utility projects and the work on Highland Drive area, which is ongoing, Mr. McClellan plans to provide an update regarding the project in his report. Also regarding EV parking stations, members from our utility department, Mr. Piantanza and I met with the representative from an energy solutions company on site this past Friday. We're continuing to gather information and cost estimates, and we'll be bringing this information to the Utilities Committee in the near future. Planning Board, the October 4th meeting was canceled. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, November 1st. And 4th of July, the committee was glad to see many of our residents at Milltown Day. And please keep an eye out for some future fundraising events to support next year's 4th of July town event. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And just as a note, one of our valued Planning and Zoning Board members passed away, Anthony Scelsa. So please keep him and his family in your prayers. He was so knowledgeable, he was a pleasure to work with on the Planning Board, so we send our condolences to his family.
Yeah, and Madam Mayor, I believe the wake is at Bronson and Gutline this Sunday
That's
from
right.
4 to 8.
Right. Thank you. Next, we have the Department of Public Works, Councilman Revelinsky.
Oh, I'll be reading this.
Oh.
Mayor, I'd actually asked Councilman Collins to read my report for this evening.
Okay.
Since I'm on the phone.
Great, thank you. Councilman Collins?
I got back-to-back here tonight.
Okay, good.
Gonna get tired of my voice. The library events in October, 10/10 Library Board meeting, that's tonight. This Saturday, 10/14 Fall Harvest Day, 11 to 1, and Friends Book Sale, 10 to 2. 10/17 Adult Yoga with Marcy. 10/17 Meet Local Author Eric Herkid. 10/18 Elder Law, What You Should Know at the Senior Center. 10/21 Crocheting for Beginners. 10/21 Read to a Pooch. 10/23 Tween Craft. 10/28 Haunted New Jersey. 10:30 Halloween Bingo. Thursday mornings Babes and Tots Story Time, 10:30. All age story time, 11:30. Please call the library if you have any questions, 732-247-2270, or visit our website. And now to Public Works. DPW crews continue to keep low-hanging and dead branches trimmed. Staff helped to prepare Borough Park and hung the banner for Milltown Day 2023. Street sweeping has taken place in an ongoing to meet DPW regulations. Catch basin and outfall pipe cleaning has taken place to meet DPW stormwater regulations, DEP, I'm sorry. The following roads have been milled and paved throughout the interlocal agreement with Middlesex County: Lower Washington Avenue, Howard Street, West Lincoln Avenue, Garber Avenue, Cortlandt Street. New tot swings and bridge have been installed in the playground at the Borough Park. Soccer equipment has been brought to Albert Avenue Park, and fields has been prepared for an upcoming soccer season. Numerous potholes have been repaired. A fallen tree in the stream on Northbrook Drive has been removed to prevent possible flooding issues. The annual paper shred event is Saturday, 10/21, beginning at 8:30 until 12:30, or until the truck is full. It will be in the American Legion parking lot. It is open to Milltown residents only. DOW crew assisted the water department with the main repair on Janet Court. DPW staff would like to thank all residents who stopped at our table during Milltown Day and got some great giveaways. It was great to see everyone out there. Next, I got the Board of Health minutes. I'm just gonna go over them briefly. 410 unlicensed cat complaint, 427 garbage complaint. That's April 27th. 516 overgrown vegetation complaint. 516 another overgrown vegetation complaint. 525 was the Milltown Board of Health rabies clinic, and I believe we had 15 vaccines given. 6.2 overgrown vegetation complaint. 6.2 another overgrown vegetation complaint. 6.2 another overgrown and rodent complaint. 6.7 rodent complaint. 6.12 rodent complaint. Report for July. 7.3 rodent complaint. 7.7 insect complaint. 7.27 rodent complaint. For August. 8.11 overgrown grass and rodent complaint. 8.11 garbage and rodent complaint. 8.11 rodent complaint. 8.11 rodent complaint. 8.11 rodent complaint. Now I got the borough vital statistics, which we don't usually read, but I figured I'd read it. It's vital statistics for the month of April. Births 4, deaths 4, marriages 3. The report for May, births 7, deaths 7, marriages 3. Report for June, births 9, deaths 1, marriages 3. Report for, oh, did I skip one? Nope, here we go. The report for July, births 6, deaths 3, marriages 2. The report for August, the vital statistics is births 7, deaths 2, marriages 5. Now to the environmental committee. The environmental committee had some, about the idling issues, and there is a sign in Four Boys parking lot, but it seems to be some vegetation has grown over it, so I'm not sure people could see it. I had a question for Peter while we're here.
Okay.
If the public parking lot behind the pharmacy in Wells Fargo, are we allowed to put a no idling sign there? Or recommend one?
Public parking lot where?
Behind Wells Fargo,
Is that private property?
That's private property.
private property. We
I
can't
think
put a
the
sign there.
pharmacy-
No, we
the pharmacy.
don't put signage generally on private property.
Okay. That's the only question I had. And the Environmental Commission is looking to develop the web page. I was wondering if Gabriel Piatanza can help us?
Has anybody reached out to her?
I don't know. That's what we need to find out. That's why I'm asking the question.
That's,
It's generally the way that works.
Are you in charge of that, Phil?
But
no, you are. You
Oh, I
are.
am.
You're the
Sure,
council
yeah, you're the
liaison. You
council
go to the
liaison, so
person at the
you can
borough
reach
that
out to
works,
the
that does the
Gabriel
work.
Piatanza.
Oh, okay. And let's see, the work on, the Environmental Commission is, they started work on the Schwindeman cabin, and they're continuing it. And the Environmental Commission would like to have copies, Mike, from the park, like we were talking about.
Got it. Okay.
And the Lawrence Brook Watershed Bike Ride is Saturday, 10/21, and the next Environmental Commission is October 25th, 2023. And that concludes my reports, Madam Mayor.
Any updates on the Schwendeman property, Councilman?
They're working on it. I'm still waiting for the architect to go through it, but they're working on the outside lumber.
And just a follow-up question to your Board of Health report. What happens, what does the Board of Health do when they receive those complaints? So did you
They
let
file
the
with
public know?
county. And I think it's,
So if they get a complaint, what happens?
they forward it with the county, and our inspector, I forgot her name here, let's see, Victoria Osterston comes out and investigates.
Okay.
So if anybody has a complaint, that's where it'll go.
And do you get a follow-up report from Victoria saying that whether it's been remediated or not?
That's correct. It's in here.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
I just have one question. So you're saying for the paper shred on the 21st, it's only for Milltown residents?
That's what it says, yes.
Are they gonna be checking licenses and turning away people?
I don't know. I doubt it.
It's a Middlesex County thing. I find it hard to
Yeah.
believe that there'd be only
Is it?
Milltown residents.
Oh, wait, no, it's
So it was a
different.
special, it was a recycling enhancement grant for $1,000 for Milltown residents only.
So they will be turning away people that don't
I
have a
don't know if
Milltown
they're
license?
checking licenses, honestly.
That's
but-
interesting.
And where, just so people know, where is that?
That's in the American Legion parking lot on 1021. It starts, I believe I went over it, let's see.
And in your library report, did you mention, I may have missed it, this Saturday, October 14th?
Yes, we did. Fall
Okay.
Harvest Day is 11 to
Fall
1.
Harvest Day, and the reason I ask about that is I think some people that may be sitting up here are going to be the judges of the apple pie contest. So make sure you stop by.
Bring our appetites.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, thank you.
I just wanted to add, Councilman Collins, at the Environmental Commission, we helped with that website. We had provided a bunch of documents in last year to try and get the mission statement and things together, and I think Gabriella was already working on that. So I think they just need to get in touch with Gabriella and she can facilitate that, because some of the groundwork was already laid.
I think it's on there, but we'll double check.
Yeah, they were a little confused, so we'll get it straightened out.
All right, thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Next, who has the Councilman Peretti's Rec Department? Councilman Potter.
That'll be me.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to do the rec department, and Council President Zambrano will do the revitalization.
Okay,
So,
good.
For the recreation, updates for the recreation. It was great seeing you all on Milltown Day. We appreciate your support. Youth fall soccer, tennis, flag football, and multi-sports are all running smoothly. Adult yoga, men's basketball, and women's volleyball have all begun their fall season. Late fall soccer registration is open on Community Pass. The program runs for 4 weeks starting on 11/16 and is being held at Parkview School. Registration is open for Mad Science Funky Forces, which is scheduled to begin on 11/3 at the Senior Center. Youth basketball registration will open in early November. Please be sure to visit our recreation website on the Borough website to familiarize yourself with upcoming programs and new activities along with park locations. To register for any of our programs, please log on to Community Pass. And please help us continue to make Milltown Recreation a community in motion. And now, Madam Mayor, I'll pass it off to Council President Zambrano.
Thank you.
So, just a short blurb from Councilman Peretti, who's the liaison for the Revitalization Committee. So Milltown Day was held on September 30th, and although we had a bit of a wet start, the weather did brighten up and we had a tremendous day. This year, we had more vendor participation than any year prior, and the range of businesses present was a terrific treat for our Milltown residents. This is from Councilman Peretti. He wants to give out a special thank you to our Revitalization Committee members who do all of the work to organize and host the event, in particular Bonnie Jasko, Jackie Treadwell, Rachel Freed, Pat Payne, Dave Ariniak, myself, James Peretti, and last but not least is the person who we all could not have done this without Andrea Vanderveer, who is the chairperson of the committee. We'd also like to thank our sponsors who go above and beyond to support this great day for Milltown. To all our vendors, town departments, first responders, local organizations, and performers who were present on Milltown Day, we thank you and look forward to seeing you again next year. If any of you have any pictures of the event, please feel free to send them to revitalization@milltownborough.com. Also, if you have any comments or feedback on the event, we'd love to hear from you as we start planning next year's event. Thank you. Sincerely, Councilman James Peretti.
Great, thank you. Yeah, Milltown Day was great this year, so I couldn't agree more, and I thank you and Councilman Peretti, and especially the Revitalization Committee people. But it was so great to see all of the volunteers and town organizations and vendors, and it turned out to be a really well-attended, nice day. So thank you very much to everybody for that. And now we'll move back to you, Council President Zambrana, for the finance report.
I do not have a finance report tonight. Looking forward to the audit presentation by our auditors I do not have a senior center update, as I gave that at the last committee meeting, at the last council meeting with all the events in October. And I truly hope everyone goes to the website for the senior center. I'd love to drive traffic there and to make sure that folks are aware of all the opportunities that are there in town. The next Ford Avenue Redevelopment Agency meeting will be on Tuesday, October 17th at 7 p.m. The next Milltown Historical Preservation Committee will be on Thursday, October 26th at 7:30 p.m. That will be via Zoom. Anyone can join. The Ford Avenue Redevelopment Agency meeting will be in person. It is not via Zoom. And the Historical Society, I understand that they had a nice turnout on October 7th, 8th, and 9th. I heard they had a nice turnout. Always looking forward to opening up those buildings and having the people in Milltown visit them and to take in the history of the town. And that concludes my report.
Great. Great. Yeah, that was very nice. I think a lot of us stopped by and they did a really, really nice job. So thanks for opening it up and looking forward to having more events there as time goes on.
Oh, Madam Mayor, I think the senior buildings close this Thursday, is that correct? There's a vaccination, is that right on, Phil?
That could be.
I don't know.
That could be.
Yeah, I mean, it's closed this Thursday, but they're doing some kind of vaccination things, I believe I read.
Flu shot, I believe.
Flu shot, that's correct. Flu shot.
It's only from,
What?
they're closed, I'm sorry, is it closed the whole day?
Yeah, it's just open for the vaccinations, but all the other
I
meetings
think
there.
the morning events are probably canceled, but it's not that the center isn't.
It's the center's open. I think it's
Yeah,
just,
the activities are canceled, but the
right.
center is open.
The center's open, they're just doing the vaccinations.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, we will move on to the report from our business administrator, Jeanette Larison, for the present, and we have a borough auditor to do the audit.
Yes, so I'm
presentation.
going to turn over to our auditors. We have, okay. We have representatives from Andy Hodgwick's, is he still Hodgwick?
PKF O'Connor Davies. Madam Mayor, council members, thank you again for having me. Just a quick remark on the timing. I feel like every year it just goes longer and longer and longer with the state just extending the deadline, and that's because we're waiting on certain pension and OPEB information that they're waiting on from another audit that's done by the state. So it looks like they actually got the information earlier on this year, so they're actually committing to go back to the regular statutory deadline, which would be here, June 30th. We're anticipating probably a transition year, so maybe something like August 1st next year, maybe June 30th, 25. We'll kind of be back into the normal swing of things. I don't know if that's good news or bad news, but yeah, we like that too, just because it just, that's the way it was always done. So this deadline was statutorily extended to September 30th. We filed on time on September 15th. So, and even during that time, there's still, I think, 300 municipalities, counties that haven't yet filed. It was just a really tough year by the time we got all this stuff in to get everything done. So I want to thank Jeanette and her team for really making that happen, because if it wasn't for that, there's just no way. We had to get everything timely and organized, and she did just that, so I really appreciate it. We also filed an unmodified opinion, both on the financial statements, and we also had a state single audit on a DCA grant this year. So both were unmodified opinions, which again, the best opinion you could get. With that, we also had no formal findings that require corrective action. So the borough should be very proud of that. I mean, I think, you know, we do a lot of in-depth work. I got Anthony Caprio, he's the lead supervisor on the job, and he can attest to, we really, really do a lot of voluminous transactional testing, et cetera, and the borough really, really does a great job. Just to touch on some of the numbers in the financial statements, current fund surplus for December 31, 2022 was roughly $2.2 million, which was an increase of approximately $700,000 from previous year. Now keep in mind, some of that was driven by one-time revenue sources that you also may not see in the next year coming up. The water sewer utility fund was at $265,000 surplus. That was actually down approximately $360,000 from the prior year, mostly driven by, you had a budget appropriation this year for installation of meters and equipment. I think that was around $215,000-ish. So that was the primary cause of the increase there. The electric utility funds is really doing well again. It's $1.4 million surplus, down 125 from prior year, which really is just normal operating increases. Everything's just skyrocketing, obviously, pension, salaries, et cetera. So that was pretty much, within range of normalcy. And that's pretty much all I had. I'd love to answer any questions that you guys would have for me.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Does
I have a
any member?
question.
Oh,
So you said that there are approximately 300 municipalities that have not yet filed?
At September 15th, at the time of this filing.
Okay.
And I know at December 30th, there's also, I don't know the number, it was pretty high.
So do those municipalities get an extension or not?
No, they're just considered late,
And so
honestly.
if they're considered late, what happens?
Yeah, it's not like they withhold aid. It used to be like a best practice survey or something. It would be a knock of a point or two if it's not filed on time. I think with this year too, there's a lot of leniency. I don't think the state's really doing anything if somebody files, October 7th or something like that, quite honestly.
So, but there are no fines or anything?
No, there's no fines that I'm aware of at this point, no.
But it's a detriment to the municipality to not have it.
Sure.
At the time.
Yeah, and it's,
Okay. Interesting.
any other questions?
Yes. My question was about, this is a 209-page document, but
This
somewhere
big.
near the very beginning, when, I read something about generally accepted accounting principles, and I was just wondering if you could explain, so that anybody who flips through that as I did and went, wait, what? We're not following generally accepted accounting principles? If you could explain briefly governmental accounting versus that.
I certainly did my best. That's one of the best questions I've ever had. Because, New Jersey literally is the only state,
Yes.
it's the only place in the world that has it's called regulatory basis of accounting. And I have an RMA license. I go to Pennsylvania, quite frankly, it's a useless license. It really is. Everyone else is GAAP. And it's funny you ask that, because when I did commercial audits, school boards, nonprofit, I pretty much did everything. When I really got into towns and counties, I looked it up. I had the same question. It doesn't make any sense to me. Because, you used to be if you have, an accounts receivable, you'd have revenue right away. So what I found way back in maybe the 50s, I think it was New York, where they had a tax levy stricken, then they had accounts receivable set up, and then they, had all that revenue on surplus, and all of a sudden, all those accounts receivables were not collectible. And then a few years down the road, they had like negative surplus. So that was in Jersey's, I guess, idea, good idea or not, to safeguard assets, to protect the welfare of the people and, and the funds and taxes, and to kind of like, cash as revenue, not when we strike the levy or not, various other things too. So that was the premise that I found when I actually looked into it, which I actually did, way back when, but, they keep saying too, we may go GAAP. I don't know how that's even
No, you're not.
possible.
No, you're not.
Every single municipality, you
you're not.
would have to restate. I heard that not too long ago, went to an RMA conference.
Nope.
And then all of us was just like, there's just no way.
There's not gonna happen.
Yeah, but that's the real answer, that, they want to make sure revenue is revenue. When cash is in the door, it's not, a question mark, will it be collected down the road or not?
Gotcha.
So-
So, that explanation combined with the fact that there's no findings, you see that, on pages, 208 or so of 209, that there's no findings, and it's good. But it sounds like everything is sound, and that's very reassuring. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, great internal controls and compliance. We also do a lot of compliance testing, so there's a lot in that 209 pages, but.
Yeah. About 1 o'clock this morning, I said the very same thing.
That's dedicated, that's for sure.
I have another question.
Yeah.
So if let's say, the state decided to go to GAAP, how would that happen?
Every single borough, municipality, county would have to restate their financial statements.
How far back?
Probably just to the most current year, then have this
Okay.
cumulative effect.
Okay.
Whatever that would be.
Okay.
Plus or minus millions, I
And so,
guess.
in your opinion, why do you think that, I say that's never gonna happen, why do you think that's never gonna happen?
Well, I think that's number one, is I think they don't, it's almost like everyone else also in all these boroughs, towns have to get retrained to a certain extent too. That's something. When there's already a shortage of CFOs, et cetera, in the state, I would think that'd be a bad move in itself. And again, there's that risk that, you know, they could book revenue, it's not collected, and then you're trying to, you know, create capital improvements and services for the residents, then you know what? You actually don't have the cash. You have revenue, that's not cash. So that's my personal opinion why it will never happen, but
Okay. Thank you.
sure thing.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned. The water surplus went down $360,000.
Yes, and I still think that was driven mostly, I know there's still, you know, operating costs, et cetera, that are just generally increasing, but you did have that new meter installation project that, although not
That was
spent,
the ARP money that didn't make it over, so it actually, this year will recoup that.
in '23, it's not over, right? 20,
Yeah, it
22
didn't come
was
over in
there.
'23, yeah.
Right.
Well, it should have gone over in '22.
It was there in '22.
Oh.
Mhm. But yeah, so I think if you back out, you know, the meter installation project at 215, it's still obviously a little down, but not, that was a significant portion of it.
Thank you.
Of course.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I actually had a question in regards to page 76, note 10, under the property and liability insurance. There's a statement in there that the GIF fund balance is $4,212,493.92.
76.
Yeah.
And then on page 81,
Oh, 76.
there's a supplemental insurance assessment of $140,000. And I'm just wondering if you could shed some light on that, because if this is the same gift that we're making the move out of, I looked at some of their annual reports, and they were in the negative by over $20 million over the last 2 years. So I'm just wondering if that's referencing the same status as the gift.
Yeah, no, I apologize. I think that's, I have a hard copy, so my pages are different. That was what the GIF? And I know we
So
actually,
page 76 on the PDF, which is what he's referring to, is page 68 in your
oh,
document.
thank you so much. Yeah, I was trying in my head do the back
Yeah,
end the
I'm
pages.
sorry, yes, you're right. Thanks, Margaret.
Sure.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have a better answer too, but I know, yeah, we're looking at this number, right?
But that's,
I want to say, I don't know if, not that this helps, but I even think a couple of years ago, they were even in a worse position, I want to say.
yes, yeah.
So even though it looks not promising at all, I do think they're rebounding. It doesn't really portray in this, but I forgot what the numbers was, so I could dig it up from a prior audit and get back to you. But I know it definitely, these numbers were actually better, believe it or not, than they were, say, 2 years ago.
Well, he's saying that, you know, we have a negative IBNR number of about 25 million at the GIF right now. So I think what he's asking is, why don't these numbers represent that?
And sometimes this information may be kind of a year behind too when we get it,
Yeah.
I want to say.
Because I want to say between, like, say, 2021
gotcha,
and
yeah.
2023 is when everything was being worked out. The audit was like a year behind, and so
Yeah.
it's possible the numbers that you have were not the corrected numbers.
And it does say as of December 31st, 2022, but I do think, even though it says that, it's always like that lag year.
Yeah,
In my-
because we
my
didn't even have,
experience.
the budget there wouldn't have even been completed.
Yeah.
I mean, the audit.
So that was like the most available information.
Mhm, yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if that's a good answer, but if I could get back to you with some more information on that if you would like.
Any other questions? Okay.
Curious about that water sewer surplus. Where did that money come from? That only comes from the rates, right, that we have that surplus?
Yes, and then for the last 2 years, meaning 2021, 22, you did have some ARP funds, you know, the COVID grant funds for another 360,000, 364, I think it was, that also enhanced that surplus number in addition to the connection and the water rate fees, which you will not get that this year that we're in right now, unfortunately. That's the thing too, a lot of the COVID grants, the ARP funds, they're just really starting to, you know, diminish and kind of run out at this point. Not here, just statewide.
So it seems like it's a good thing that we have that surplus in there, but as it's depleting, what are your thoughts on that surplus and how you see the trend moving based on your audit?
Honestly, sometimes it's just, you gotta take a look at some of the water rates and the connection fees, and, you know, hopefully that's enough to sustain the increase in expenditures. That's gonna almost have to do an analysis on that, be my,
Which is what we're doing.
Which we're currently doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really the only, so much you could do in that,
Yep.
that fund. But yeah, no, it's fortunate to have that surplus sitting there.
Anything else? All right, so I'm going to ask the clerk to please read the resolution 265-2023 by title.
Resolution certifying review of the fiscal year 2022 annual audit.
You've heard the reading of this resolution. What is your pleasure?
Madam Mayor, I move that this resolution be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion by Council President Zambrana, second by Councilman Potter. Any other discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
Okay, thank you, motion carries. Thank you to the auditors for being here, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anything else, Jeanette?
No, nothing else.
Okay. Next, we will move on to our borough engineer, Mr. Mike McClellan.
Yes, Madam Mayor, 3 items to discuss tonight. One is just to update you on Clayton Court. The trees have been last installed. Contractor is finishing up the punch list, and we should hopefully have a recommendation for closeout at your next meeting. West Foch is advertised for bid. We anticipate receiving bids October 19th, and at your next meeting with a recommendation of award. And lastly, to update you on the borough's water system improvements. We've made some progress since our last meeting. First, I'd like to report that the service connection to the new mains on Chestnut and Highland have been completed. The trenches have been just base paved. The top course is not on the trenches yet, but the base is in, and the people are, all the residents are on the new line. Second, the water main on Highland between Elkins and Harrison has been cleaned, and the lining work is scheduled for the end of this week, early part of next. So just to remind the council, we have a water line, we're in there cleaning the inside, and then we put a cement lining on the inside of the old cast iron. So it's taken some time. One of the things that this project has had with the last project also, we're replacing the service lines from the main to the curb stop, and then also reconnecting to the houses. The reason we're doing that is because many times the residents have poor services that are clogged between the main and the curb stop. So that's what that is, one of the reasons why it's taking a little longer than maybe what we thought originally. 3 of the bypass lines on Oak and East Lawrence have been placed into service. As you know, we put a temporary water service line along the front of the homes, and then we reconnect those services, we put the new ones in. That's done, and we anticipate the cleaning line will commence hopefully in the next week or the week after. And next work commenced today on the service installation on Wilson. We planned on having that done this week or next, and it should be done hopefully this week or next week sometime. And that was a relocation of where the actual residential service was upstream and downstream of the hydrant. And last, the air release valve replacements are anticipated to begin next week or the week after. And there's 2 air release valves that release air from high spots in your system. What the air does when it's trapped, it cuts the capacity down. It's important that you eliminate those, and that's what the air release valves, they do automatically for you. It's an automatic valve, has to be maintained, but it will release that air and allow the capacity to run through. So things are progressing. We understand Halloween is coming. We're advising the contractor to get as much work done as possible. If Halloween starts to get closer, we'll make sure he puts the provisions in and gets things wrapped up as best he can.
Perfect, right, that's what I was gonna suggest, because I went around that area and I
Yeah.
saw, Highland is great, but then East Lawrence around there, they have it,
Yeah, a
all
lot of
over.
work going on with those above-ground water services.
Exactly, and I also see they're smoothing out the roads too on
Yes.
Highland, because
Yeah.
it was a lot of craters around there, almost, they had to get a
Yeah.
new rim.
Has to be done. Yes.
Yeah, so,
That's my side of town, and people are always asking, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? It looks really
Okay.
bad, you know, so. I said they're taking care of it, don't worry.
Good, okay, any problems, just let me know.
And thank you. And also too, I'm happy North Wilson is finally getting.
Yeah, I know,
done, So that's,
we're actually at those started.
thank you.
Mike, there's a lot of people complaining about brown water. Is it possible we could like put another filter in, or do you think it's already in the line?
Well, you have what's called discolored water, and you've had that for some time. This project, along with the other project we've done, and the future project, will help to eliminate that. That's why we're doing it, because when we turn valves on and close them and open them, it changes the direction of the line. It stirs up the sediment in the pipe, and that's why some of the problems have been, really seen now. We also are gonna start flushing mains. You do usually this time of year. You flush the main, that will help go through some of the sediment. So a little ability to get in there. If you keep this lining project up, you should hopefully catch up to it hopefully soon. But lots of work to be done. You have a lot of old cast iron, that's what happens.
And Mike, I haven't asked you this, but I haven't heard anything. How are we doing with budget-wise? Are we still on budget?
Yeah, still on budget.
Excellent.
After your report, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Does the corrosion inhibitor help with the
Well,
groundwater?
we are hoping it will. It takes a little time, but the indications are that when you inject the corrosion inhibitor, that should hopefully inhibit some of the rusting on the mains. But the cement line is really what's helping.
So the $5 million that we've gotten from the state over the last 4 years, has that helped to alleviate some of the brown water in town and the service lines that are causing that, and the water line?
No question. It's, you've done, with just a grant program, you've done an awful lot of water lines for that price. And they're running about half the cost of full replacement, so the lining is productive. As I've told you before, one of the things, because you have all the cast iron, sometimes you still get the brittle cast iron, but the cement lining so far, Main Street we did, it's gotta be 10 years ago, and the project worked very well, but, you'll have a reduction in the discolored water as you continue the line.
Okay. And just as a follow-up to the last meeting, have you had any conversations with MCUA about us getting the plans and getting together with doing the force main project as well?
Yes, I spoke to the MCOA's engineer myself, and we're working on the scope of the final improvements for the line, and we're happy to see that progress for the borough.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Next, we will move on to the Borough Attorney, Mr. Vignolo.
No report tonight.
No report tonight. And on to me. I would just like to say that, there's a lot of events coming up in Milltown in October. I hope to see you at many of them. Milltown Day, as we said, was fantastic, and we thanked all the volunteers that were there, and we look forward to the Haunted River Walk, the MEF Oktoberfest, the Harvest Festival. It's one of the, and by the way, speaking of Harvest, if you'll look out in front here at Borough Hall, thanks to the DPW for decorating so nicely with the leftover hay bales and pumpkins and mums. It looks really nice around the sign out there. So we thank everybody for all of their efforts as we go into a new season, and we look forward to all the events coming up. So I will end my comments, and now we have a first reading of an ordinance. Will the clerk please read ordinance 23-1528 by title only?
An ordinance approving the redevelopment plan entitled South Main Street Rehabilitation Plan.
May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Potter, seconded by Council President Zambrana. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council President Zambrana.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
No.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Aye.
Councilman Potter.
Aye.
Councilman Revelinsky.
No.
Motion carried. Or not motion, what is that?
It's a motion.
Oh, okay. A public hearing on this ordinance will take place on November 13th, 2023 at 7 p.m. in council chambers. Now we will move on to old business. Does any member of the council have any old business to bring before the council this evening? Hearing none, I will close old business and move on to new business. Does any member of the council have any new business to bring before us this evening? Hearing none, I will close new business and go on to audience comments. The public comment of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. The council will respect the public's time by refraining from any comment until the speaker has finished. It should be further noted that the public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. If a member has specific questions they seek answers to, an appointment can be made with the appropriate office. Please state your name and address for the record when you come to the podium. Yes. Good evening.
Steve Weisenberger, 99 JFK Drive, Milltown. A couple weeks back, I had the opportunity to talk to a county road worker, a foreman. They were doing repaving in East Brunswick up there by Ryder Lane, Milltown Road. And other stories out there, that road was repaved because they said they spilled paint up there by Jensen Street. That's just incredible. You know, a request went in and they did it. Whether it's fact, fiction, I guess, coming from those guys, I believe, but whatever. But I also talked to him about Milltown a little bit. And I'm curious who can answer this. He said Main Street in Milltown is an interesting place for paving. And he talked about the shale curbs being historic. And that presents a problem. And I'm just curious if anybody knows anything about that. Or that ever heard of it.
Is that,
I have actually heard that there are shale curbs in some locations. One particular resident near Main Street and West Foch had said that when the curbs are, when the curbs are low because they've gotten broken, shale weathers differently than concrete curbs do. That his concern was how close the pavement level was to the top of the shale curbs. So that's the extent of what I know, yeah.
Because for years, Mike knows, we've had a problem at the corner of East Foch and Main, the water. It's still there, and it's bad. There's gravel, there's debris that gets in there, and when that gets wet, you can't accelerate out of there. And that can be a problem. And coming in, it's the same thing breaking. When you take that turn, you slide. And I don't know what the answer is for that yet, but pertaining to the curbs of that end of town, some curbs are, like you said, road level, if not lower, or don't exist. Some curbs are up high. Like I said, you get weeds, everything growing there. Water doesn't flow good. And I'm curious, just with the paving that's going to be going on at the PSE&G, well, once again, who's going to be responsible for fixing those curbs? Homeowners, county, or is it going to, can we do something with it?
so that's a good question, and that would, so Councilman Revelinsky, I would ask that you put that on the agenda for your next Department of Public Works Committee meeting to discuss with the Public Works Director to address before the paving of Main Street comes along, to find out what's going to happen with the curbs on the county road.
Well, the curbs are, according to our borough ordinance, the curbs are the responsibility of the property owner. So I don't think PSE&G, unless they've got direction from the county to fix any curbs or to change any curbs, that PSE&G intends to do so. So I would venture to say that nothing will be done with the curbs. It's unfortunate because if we've known about this project for so long, it would have been beneficial if we could have figured something out to get those taken care of.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I said, if there's a catch-22 there, there are shale curbs pieces here and here.
Oh, they're all broken. They're all broken. They look awful.
And yeah,
They look awful.
they're not good.
Yeah,
They're somewhere by the Provident Bank, too.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you
they'll
look
shred
at?
tires, they'll do whatever.
yeah.
So, like I said, just throwing it out there.
That's-
Hope we can
It's the
get
first time
something
I've heard,
from it.
it's the
Thank
first
you.
time I've heard that, though, that they're historic. I've never heard that one before.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
George Murray for South Brook Drive. I would like to thank one person that we all forgot about is Russ for Milltown Day. Russ puts a lot of time and effort
True.
into everything.
Yep.
And I would just like to call him out on that. 'Cause
Great, very good DJing that day.
Yes. Also, I would like to thank Mayor Muir and for a good forum last week.
Thank you.
And I just want to encourage the residents to get out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Hi.
Nick Madani, 9 Janet Court. Madam Mayor, if you allow me, at the last meeting, there was clarification on what was said at a forum. I would like the same courtesy if I'm allowed.
Sure.
At the last forum, maybe Mr. McClellan can answer this question, I'm not sure. Mr. McClellan, is there water leaking under the turnpike?
We have a water main that runs below the turnpike, and there was a leak in the line. The borough has shut the valves on both sides of the water main, is no longer leaking.
Okay, so the valve is shut off.
The valve is shut, both sides.
And can you tell me how long this has been fixed?
Oh, it's at least a year now.
At least a year. So we're not losing millions of gallons of water.
No.
That was my first question. My second comment is going to be, as a person who, a week negative, did get COVID. And I just want to let the people of Milltown know that we should be careful because it's on the rise. And I got to tell you, it was the first time I had it, and I never felt so bad in my life.
Wow. Well, you look good now. So glad you're better.
So please be careful.
Yes.
And my third thing, if you would allow, I don't know how many more I'll have of these, but I'd like to wish my wife a happy anniversary, 39 years together and 33 years married.
Well, that's great.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Enjoy. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Joe Pitanza, 15 Bruce Court. I'm the chair of the planning board, and I had a member come to me and ask, Joe, my term is expiring at the end of the year. I'd like to come back. What's the best way to go about doing that? So I thought I'd ask.
That's is that the citizen leadership also?
Yes.
She should fill out a citizen
Yes,
leadership.
yes.
What I plan on doing is going through all of our committees and commissions, seeing whose term is up, and I'll send a letter to that person and the chair, and that way they can let you know, yes, I want to do it again, or no, I'm no longer interested. Now we know how many vacancies we'll have to look for. And then they get appointed at the reorg meeting.
And she would have first preference because she's already on.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, so, but the first step is when we'll send it out, that should be coming, sooner rather than later, to let everybody know, and then do the citizen leadership application.
So if I send her one and she fills it out,
Yep.
she's,
Yeah, she
In
can
the
send it
queue.
in, but like I said, I'm gonna go through the membership of each thing, of each committee and commission, and send it to the chairperson and that person, if their term is up at the end of this year, so that they're prepared and can say yay or nay, I'm interested.
Yeah.
great. My second subject, I want to thank Councilman Potter for joining me with the charging station person last Friday. It was very beneficial, very informative, and we got a lot of information that you want.
We did. Thank you, Joe.
My third subject is Mike, if I may. When I was a councilman years ago, I asked if we removed the trestle, would that help with flooding?
So, to go back to what we talked about, the way that a stream, when it gets overtaxed, it backwaters up. So the trestle doesn't really cause the flooding. The water backs into the trestle. To some extent, it actually prevents the water from going upstream into your pond. So it's a backwater effect it causes. So the answer is no, removing the trestle will not solve the problem.
So removing the trestle will not
No.
solve the problem?
Doesn't cause it, it's basically more water that can fit down the stream, be passed down the stream.
And the other thing is, do we even know who owns that trestle?
Well, do I have survey or deed information? No, but it's our understanding that it was utilized by the old mill, the Michelin Tire and Rubber Company, and they ran freight across there to the main line. So that's what as far as our understanding. So the answer is it's probably somewhere in the deed that it's owned by them, the old heirs of the Michelin Tire and Rubber Company. But do I have a deed that says it? No, I've never seen a deed.
So we're not 100% sure who owns that trestle?
No, we're not. That would have to be part of it. You've never decided to remove it, and this has been discussed on the floor many times, that the ownership of the trestle would have to be determined, and then permission granted by whoever that was.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close audience comments and move on to council comments. Does any member of the council have anything further they'd like to bring up this evening?
Oh, yes. Mike, I had a question about that. You're saying that bridge isn't causing the water to stop, but what's underneath that bridge?
The trestle, the railroad trestle?
The trestle?
The stream backs up from downstream, from all the way, probably to where the dam is down by Route 18. That's how far it backs up.
I know it backs up on Ryder's Lane because there's a
Yes, it does.
bridge there too.
That's right.
But I've been over there and there's a lot of debris underneath, so I'm wondering if that's inhibiting the water from, going out quicker.
No, it would not have an effect on it, and I've watched it myself. The debris does not have an impact on it.
I see, okay. Oh, I'd just like to say in the council comments, I'd like to thank everybody who participated in Milltown Day, especially the committee and the workers, the revitalization committee, and I want to thank the vendors for showing up and making a successful day, despite the fact that it rained in the morning. We all tried, I guess, I would just say, bared with it and got through it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I just have a quick comment, more of like a public service kind of comment. So we're in that time of the year where it's election season. It's 30 days left, a little less than 30 days left before the election at the state and at the local level. Vote by mails are out. You can send your vote by mail. You can return your vote by mail either by mailing it, actually going to the Board of Elections over in East Brunswick, although I don't recommend that because you'll have to fill out a bunch of forms. And of course, over here at the police entrance on the side, there is a mail drop box that is picked up every day. I would urge everyone to go over anything that you may have heard or seen on social media or candidates forum or mayor's forum. Fact check. Make sure that what you've heard in a forum is actually true and isn't just spaghetti that's being thrown up on the wall. Thank you.
Anyone else? And just to follow up on elections, Monica, we're all good with poll workers?
Yes, I could use one more.
Okay, so if anyone's interested in being a poll worker, what do they do?
They can contact me. The clerk's office number 732-828-2100, extension 181. Let me know that you're interested. I'll figure out if you have training or not, but they're offering training up all the way up until election day. So, and I could always use people as backup if somebody gets sick last minute, if there's any issues the day of. I always like to have somebody on backup, so please call.
What's the rate for the day, do you know?
I don't even know what they're doing. I can find out, though.
Okay, all right, we'll,
Is it 300 still? Okay. Yes.
Okay.
So if you need training, $30 for the training, and then 300 for a full day, 150 for a half day.
Monica, did you check
Thank
with
you.
the senior center? Maybe we'll find a couple stragglers over there?
Yeah, I put a couple feelers out, so I'm just waiting to hear back. I mean, we're pretty well stocked. It's just one that that we need, so we have a little bit of time.
Good, good, thank you. Anyone else?
I have just one, Madam Mayor, this comes as a result of your comment at the last council meeting. You read the letter from the county regarding the force main, and I had a couple residents ask me, and I said, that's such a good point. Why don't I ask? But the county was not intending to foot the bill on the $16 million for the construction cost. It was just for the engineering cost. Is that correct?
That is not correct. No. I will read it again. Let me pull it up, make it clear. They will do the engineering cost, but it also, they said that they would explore the options for financing and put us in with the MCUA under the understanding that when they get infrastructure money, that we will be partnered with the MCUA on that. So if you give me a second, I'll be glad to pull up the email and read it again.
So that was explore, not guaranteed, right?
No, it's not guaranteed, no.
Okay. All right.
So the next steps will include identifying funding strategies, completing the final design, and procuring the project. MCUA has directed CME to update the path forward, the schedule, and to fully define the remaining scope. So I think Mike, or Mr. McClellan, can actually probably speak to this more as to how other towns operate. The understanding, Councilman Revelinsky, is that we are now partnering with the MCUA. So rather than the borough doing this all on their own, which means that we would never get to do it because it would be such a burden on the taxpayers and ratepayers of Milltown to do a project for 15 to 20 million, that we will partner with the MCUA to determine funding, whereas if funding comes in to the MCUA, the beauty of it is that Milltown is now part of that group that will benefit from that funding that is going to the county and the MCUA. Correct, Mike?
That's absolutely correct. That's correct.
Mike, you said that's going to be a, what, 20-inch line or 24-inch?
20-inch.
20-inch.
Let me say 16 to 20. We still got to run the calculation. 16 to 20.
16-inch?
Yeah.
We got, what, 12 now?
You have 12 now.
So the engineering is part of it, and that's, but we had already gotten the grant for the design of it, not the design,
The conceptual design.
the conceptual design, right. So now we move into the scope and the next phase, and then we would move into the next stage of partnering and/or finding the funding to get Milltown's, how old is it, Mike? 110?
Just about 100 years today, actually.
Yep. Well, happy birthday to this one.
Sewer line.
Yeah. It's a ticking time bomb.
Yes, it is.
Right. So,
It was put in before my time.
yes, as you'll recall from when you had the Utilities Committee, Councilman Revelinsky, it's been a problem for many, many years, and there was so much repair work that has been done that has come out of our operating budget, and it really has been a burden to the taxpayers and ratepayers of Milltown. So we're happy to have another alternative solution to this problem that has plagued us for so long. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close council comments, and I will move to the mayor comments. So, happy anniversary again to the Legatis. Happy birthday to Troy Poznansky. I heard that he is waiting at home for a birthday celebration, and to anyone else that's celebrating, we wish them well. Thank you all for being here this evening. We look forward to seeing you around town and at all the events in Milltown. And with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Collins, second by Councilwoman O'Donnell. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, Rich.
Busy.